Listen to me very carefully, for what I am about to share with you will mark the dividing line between the timid life you have been living and the confident life you are destined to live. Every day, you start with an empty page. But most people let yesterday write it for them. That stops today. For decades, I studied the minds of presidents, salesmen, teachers, and farmers, searching for the secret that separated those who commanded respect from those who begged for it. I discovered something so profound, so simple, yet so powerful that it has remained hidden from the masses who struggle daily with shyness, worry, and the crushing fear of speaking their truth. These leaders, Roosevelt, Lincoln, the great industrialists, all possessed a secret morning ritual that programmed their minds for influence before their feet even touched the floor. You wake each morning, don't you? With the same anxious thoughts about what others think, the same dread of speaking up in meetings, the same fear of being judged. You rise from your bed already defeated, your mind poisoned with the timidity of yesterday. But today, right now, as you absorb my words, that chain of mental servitude is about to be broken forever. What would you say if I told you that the first 10 minutes after you open your eyes each morning determine whether you will influence or be influenced that day? What would you think if I revealed that every great communicator, every respected leader, every person who commands genuine admiration began not in a boardroom or on a stage, but in the quiet moments of dawn when a determined mind spoke certain commands with absolute conviction? The human mind is like a radio transmitter. When you speak words with deep emotion and certainty, you send a signal that others cannot help but receive. This is not mere theory. This is proven fact demonstrated through decades of careful observation of how influence actually works. Your subconscious mind does not question or doubt. It simply accepts what you tell it with feeling and begins immediately to manifest it in your interactions with others. Dale Carnegie understood this principle. Each morning before the world awakened, he would stand before his mirror and speak his intentions for the day with such power that his very presence commanded respect from all who encountered him. The great speakers knew this secret. In the quiet of their private chambers, before facing any audience, they would affirm their connection to confidence and calm. They all began their days not with newspapers or idle worry, but with deliberate, purposeful commands that programmed their minds for influence. For too long, you have been the victim of your own mental laziness. You have allowed your mind to run wild like an untamed horse, carrying you wherever fear and doubt wish to take you. But the 10 commands I am about to give you are like reins for that wild horse. They will give you mastery over your own thoughts, and through that mastery, control over how others perceive and respond to you. These are not merely positive thoughts or empty affirmations. These 10 commands contain the concentrated essence of human influence distilled from the actual practices of men and women who built empires of respect, who transformed entire organizations, who left their mark on history through the sheer power of their presence and communication. Each command is a key that unlocks a different door in your subconscious mind. Together, they form a master key that opens the vault of unlimited influence and unshakable confidence. The transformation that awaits you requires only 2 things. First, that you speak these commands every single morning without fail. And second, that you speak them with absolute faith and burning emotion. The words without the feeling are dead. But when you combine these words with the fire of belief, you set in motion forces that will reshape how every person you meet responds to you. Prepare yourself, for you are about to learn the morning ritual that separates the influencers from the influenced, the confident from the cowering, the leaders from the led. Command 1, today, I live in daytight compartments. Let these 7 words burn themselves into your consciousness, for they contain the power to lift you from the depths of worry to the heights of unshakable calm. Most people carry yesterday's mistakes into today and tomorrow's fears into this moment. They scatter their mental energy across time zones that don't exist, weakening their ability to influence anyone. I once knew a businessman who had built a modest fortune, only to lose it in the stock market crash. He came to me broken, defeated, his mind consumed with regret over past decisions and terror about future poverty. I can't stop thinking about what I should have done differently, he confessed. And I can't stop worrying about what will happen to my family. I gave him only these 7 words and told him to repeat them every morning with absolute conviction. Within 6 months, he had not only rebuilt his business but created an empire twice as large as before. How? Because he had learned to focus all his mental energy on the present moment instead of wasting it on the unchangeable past and the unknowable future. But the person who lives in daytight compartments focuses all their mental power on the present moment. They become like a laser beam of attention and presence that others find irresistibly magnetic. When you are fully present with someone, they feel it. They sense that rare quality of complete attention, and they are drawn to it like metal to a magnet. Consider how Theodore Roosevelt commanded such respect. He had mastered the art of complete presence. When he spoke with someone, that person felt like the only human being in the world. Roosevelt didn't achieve this through natural talent but through the disciplined practice of living in daytight compartments. Each morning he would seal off yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's anxieties, arriving at each interaction with his full mental power intact. The human mind can only focus on one thing at a time with full intensity. When you divide your attention between past regrets, future fears, and present opportunities, you give each only a fraction of your mental power. But when you seal off everything except this moment, this conversation, this opportunity, you bring your full force to bear on what matters most. Watch how people respond differently to someone who is completely present versus someone whose mind is scattered. The scattered person makes others feel unimportant, ignored, like just another item on a busy agenda. But the fully present person makes others feel valued, heard, significant. They leave every interaction feeling better about themselves and more drawn to the person who gave them such complete attention. Your subconscious mind has been programmed to worry about things that have already happened and things that may never happen. But when you command it each morning to live in daytight compartments, you reprogram yourself for the kind of focused presence that naturally commands respect and influence. You become someone others seek out because being around you feels different, calmer, more focused, more alive. Command 2, I listen more than I speak, and people trust me for it. Here is a truth that destroys forever the false belief that influence comes from being the loudest voice in the room. The person who listens with genuine interest wields more power than the person who talks without pause. Your attention is your greatest weapon of influence, yet most people waste it on their own anxious thoughts while others are speaking. I once observed a young salesman who struggled to close deals despite knowing his product better than any of his colleagues. He would launch into detailed presentations, overwhelming prospects with features and benefits. His managers sent him to me in desperation. I don't understand it, the manager said. He knows more than anyone, but nobody buys from him. I watched this young man in action and immediately saw the problem. He was so eager to demonstrate his knowledge that he never discovered what his prospects actually wanted. I taught him this single command, I listen more than I speak, and people trust me for it. Within 30 days, he became the top salesperson in his company. Not because he learned new techniques, but because he learned to use his ears instead of his mouth. Abraham Lincoln understood this principle better than perhaps any leader in history. He would listen to his cabinet members, his generals, even his political enemies with such focused attention that they felt compelled to tell him their deepest thoughts. They trusted him not because he was eloquent, though he was, but because he first proved himself a masterful listener. One famous story tells of a Southern woman who came to Lincoln demanding the release of her Confederate son from prison. She ranted and raved for 20 minutes while Lincoln sat quietly, listening to every word. When she finished, he said simply, "Madam, I can see how much you love your son. What can we do to help him?" That woman, who had entered his office as an enemy, left as a devoted supporter who would defend Lincoln for the rest of her life. When you truly listen to someone, you give them something more valuable than gold, your complete attention. In a world where everyone is distracted, the person who listens becomes instantly valuable. People don't remember what you said as much as they remember how you made them feel, and nothing makes people feel more valued than genuine listening. But genuine listening requires discipline. Your mind wants to judge, to prepare responses, to think about your own experiences. You must train it to focus completely on understanding the other person's thoughts and feelings. This is not passive silence, this is active engagement with another human being's inner world. The magic happens when people feel truly heard. They relax their defenses. They share more openly. They begin to trust you with their real thoughts instead of their polite facades. This trust becomes the foundation of all influence, for people only follow those they trust, and they only trust those who truly understand them. This command programs your subconscious mind to resist the urge to interrupt, to prepare your next comment, or to judge what others are saying. Instead, it creates in you what I call listening magnetism, the rare ability to draw out the best thoughts and feelings from others simply by giving them your complete attention. You become the person others confide in, seek advice from, and ultimately follow. Command 3, I see the good in people, and I say it. This principle will transform you from someone others tolerate into someone others seek out. Every person you meet is starving for sincere appreciation. They are surrounded by criticism, judgment, and indifference. When you become the person who notices and speaks their strengths, you become indispensable to them. I recall a factory manager who was known for his harsh criticism and constant fault-finding. His workers despised him, productivity was low, and turnover was catastrophic. The company was ready to fire him when they decided to give him one last chance. They sent him to learn these principles from me. I don't believe in coddling people, he protested. Work is work. If they do well, that's what they're paid for. If they mess up, they need to know about it. I challenged him to try an experiment for just 30 days, find something genuinely good about each worker and express it sincerely. It won't work, he insisted, but he agreed to try. The transformation was miraculous. Within 2 weeks, the same workers who had been sullen and resentful became enthusiastic and productive. By the end of 30 days, his department had the highest output in the company's history. The manager himself was amazed. I had no idea people were capable of such excellence, he told me. But they were capable all along, they just needed someone to see it and say it. But this must be genuine. False flattery repels people as surely as sincere appreciation attracts them. The key is to train your mind to look for what is truly admirable in each person you encounter. There is always something, their persistence in facing difficulties, their kindness to coworkers, their expertise in some area, their loyalty to family, their creativity in solving problems. Benjamin Franklin discovered this secret when he transformed his relationships with his political enemies. Instead of arguing with them, he began looking for and commenting on their genuine strengths. One particularly hostile opponent softened completely when Franklin sincerely praised his skill in organizing town meetings. No one else sees that in me, the man confessed, and from that day forward he became one of Franklin's strongest allies. The human soul craves recognition like a flower craves sunlight. Most people go through entire days without receiving a single word of genuine appreciation. They return home feeling invisible, unimportant, unworthy. But when you become the person who notices and voices their value, you become like sunlight in their darkness. This is not about manipulating people with false praise. This is about developing what I call appreciation vision, the ability to see the genuine good in others that everyone else overlooks. When you speak what you truly see, people sense the authenticity and respond with trust, loyalty, and affection. Watch what happens when you sincerely appreciate someone's effort, skill, or character. Their posture straightens. Their eyes brighten. They stand a little taller. You have touched something deep within them, their desire to be valued for who they are and what they contribute. This moment of recognition creates a bond that mere business transactions cannot match. When you speak this command each morning, you program your mind to be a detector of human worth rather than human flaws. You become the person others want to be around because you help them see the best in themselves. This is not soft psychology, this is practical influence at its most powerful, for people will move mountains for someone who truly appreciates them. Command 4, I smile first, and watch the world soften. Your face is your fortune or your failure. It is the first thing people see and the last thing they remember. Yet most people wear expressions of worry, irritation, or blank indifference. They wonder why doors don't open for them, why opportunities pass them by, why others seem reluctant to help them. A genuine smile is not a sign of weakness, it is a demonstration of strength. It shows that you are in control of your own emotional state, that you choose joy over worry, warmth over coldness. It signals to others that you are safe to approach, pleasant to deal with, someone who adds light rather than shadow to their day. I once knew a bank teller who was passed over for promotion year after year despite her competence and dedication. She came to me in frustration, convinced that office politics were keeping her down. "I work harder than anyone," she complained. "I know the procedures better than anyone. But they promote people with half my experience." I observed her at work for one afternoon and immediately understood the problem. She was technically excellent but emotionally cold. Her face showed no warmth, no joy, no indication that she was happy to help customers. She processed transactions efficiently but mechanically, like a human calculator. I gave her this simple command and asked her to practice it for 30 days. "But I don't feel like smiling," she protested. "My job is boring, the customers are demanding, and management doesn't appreciate me." I explained that she had it backwards, she needed to smile first, and the positive feelings would follow. The change was remarkable. Within 2 weeks, customers were specifically requesting her line. Within a month, her supervisor noticed the improvement. Within 3 months, she received the promotion she had been seeking for years. "I never realized that my expression was driving people away," she told me. "Now I understand that a smile isn't just about how I feel, it's about how I make others feel." Charles Schwab built his fortune not just on his business acumen but on his radiant personality. He made it a point to greet every person with a genuine smile, from the elevator operator to the board chairman. This simple habit opened more doors for him than any other single practice. People wanted to do business with him because being around him made them feel better about themselves. But understand this clearly, I am not talking about a false, painted-on smile that fools no one. I am talking about the genuine expression of warmth and goodwill that comes from making a conscious decision to be a positive force in the world. This smile begins in your mind with the thought, "I choose to be glad to see this person," and manifests on your face as authentic warmth. The psychology behind this is profound. When you smile, even consciously, your brain releases endorphins that actually make you feel better. When others see your smile, their brains mirror your expression, making them feel better too. This creates an upward spiral of positive emotion that benefits everyone involved. Your smile is contagious. It spreads from person to person like ripples on a pond. The receptionist you smile at treats the next customer more warmly. The coworker you greet with genuine warmth approaches their tasks with more enthusiasm. The family member who receives your smile carries that positive energy into their day. When you command your subconscious mind to smile first, you don't wait for others to earn your warmth. You give it freely, knowing that warmth begets warmth, that kindness creates kindness, that the person who smiles first usually wins first. You become the person others are drawn to, not because of what you can do for them, but because of how you make them feel about themselves. Command 5, I act before I feel ready. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for, it is a decision you make and an action you take. Most people remain trapped in hesitation, waiting to feel confident before they act. But the reverse is true, you act first, and confidence follows. Every person who has ever commanded respect learned this secret. Theodore Roosevelt was naturally timid as a young man. But he discovered that by forcing himself to act with courage, he gradually became courageous. He didn't wait to feel brave before charging up San Juan Hill, he charged, and in the charging found his bravery. The world belongs to those who act while others hesitate. While you wait for perfect conditions, perfect preparation, perfect feelings, others with less ability but more decisiveness claim the opportunities you desire. They succeed not because they feel more confident, but because they act despite their fears. This command reprograms your nervous system to move toward what you want rather than away from what you fear. It transforms you from a reactor to an actor, from someone who waits for life to happen to someone who makes life happen. Command 6, I will not waste energy on arguments. Here lies one of the greatest discoveries in human relations: you cannot win an argument. Even if you prove your point with irrefutable logic, you lose because you make the other person feel foolish, and they will resent you for it. The person who argues may win the battle but loses the relationship. Socrates, the wisest man in ancient Athens, never argued. When confronted with disagreement, he asked questions. That's interesting. How did you come to that conclusion? What do you think would happen if? Have you considered? Through questions, he led people to discover truth for themselves, and they loved him for it. When you argue, you attack the other person's ego, their most precious possession. When you seek to understand their viewpoint, you honor their intelligence and experience. People don't remember your facts, they remember how you made them feel about themselves. This command saves your energy for influence rather than conflict. Instead of trying to change minds through force, you change them through understanding, curiosity, and respect. Command 7, I let go of worry by taking one clear action. Worry is the misuse of imagination. It is creating detailed mental movies of everything that could go wrong while taking no steps to make things go right. Action is the antidote to anxiety. The moment you do something constructive about your situation, worry begins to dissolve. Most people think that worry helps them prepare for problems. But worry is not preparation, it is paralysis. It drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and prevents you from taking the very actions that would solve your problems. The worried mind sees obstacles everywhere. The action-oriented mind sees solutions. When you feel worry creeping in, don't fight it with positive thinking. Replace it with positive action. One small step towards solving your problem does more good than 1,000 minutes of anxious thinking about it. This command transforms you from a worrier into a warrior, from someone who stews over problems into someone who solves them. It programs your mind to ask not what if something goes wrong, but what can I do right now to make things go right? Command 8, my words build bridges, not walls. Your words are tools that either connect you to others or separate you from them. Every sentence you speak either builds trust or destroys it, creates harmony or generates conflict, opens doors or closes them. Most people use words carelessly, then wonder why their relationships are difficult. The master communicator chooses words like an architect chooses materials, with careful consideration of what they're trying to build. They speak to unite rather than divide, to heal rather than hurt, to encourage rather than discourage. They understand that words have power to wound or bless, and they choose blessing. Before speaking, they ask themselves, will these words help or hurt? Will they bring us together or drive us apart? Will they leave this person feeling better or worse about themselves? This simple mental check prevents most of the relationship damage that careless words create. When you program your mind each morning to build bridges with your words, you become the person others want to confide in, work with, and support. You become a healer of relationships rather than a destroyer of them. Command 9, I encourage someone today. Here is a secret known by every great leader. People are desperate for encouragement. They are surrounded by criticism from others and harsh judgment from themselves. When you become the person who notices their efforts, acknowledges their progress, and believes in their potential, you become invaluable to them. But encouragement must be specific to be effective. Don't say good job, say I noticed how patiently you handled that difficult customer, and it made all the difference. Don't say you're smart, say the way you solved that problem showed real creative thinking. William James said that the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. When you make it your daily mission to find something worthy of encouragement in someone else, you tap into this fundamental human need. You become the person others want to be around because you help them see their own value. This command transforms you from someone who takes people for granted into someone who actively builds them up. It creates loyalty, devotion, and respect that no amount of authority or expertise can match. Command 10, I begin again, every morning. This final command encompasses all the others, for influence is not built through perfect days but through consistent effort over time. Every sunrise offers you a fresh start, a clean slate, a new opportunity to apply these principles. Yesterday's mistakes don't define you, today's choices do. The person who begins again each morning never carries the weight of accumulated failure. They understand that every interaction is a chance to demonstrate these principles anew. They don't let yesterday's social awkwardness prevent today's confident communication. They don't allow last week's mistakes to poison this week's relationships. This attitude of daily renewal keeps you from becoming discouraged when you fall short of your ideals. Instead of giving up after imperfect performance, you simply begin again tomorrow with renewed commitment and deeper understanding. Every master of human relations learned this secret: consistency matters more than perfection. The person who applies these principles imperfectly for years will achieve far more than the person who applies them perfectly for days. The sacred morning ritual. Now let me share with you the precise method that will transform these 10 commands from mere words into living forces in your life. This is not a casual practice to be done half-heartedly while you rush through your morning routine. This is a deliberate act of mental programming that requires your complete presence and participation. Rise each morning at least 15 minutes before you must begin your daily activities. This time is not negotiable. If you are not willing to invest 15 minutes in your own transformation, then you are not serious about changing your influence with others. Every person who has mastered human relations understood that the first moments of the day belong to mental preparation. I have studied the morning habits of more than 200 successful leaders, and without exception, they all began their days with some form of mental conditioning. They understood what most people never learn: the mind that is not deliberately programmed each morning will be programmed by circumstances throughout the day. You can choose your mental state, or you can let others choose it for you. Find a private place where you will not be disturbed. This might be your bedroom, a home office, even your car if necessary. The location matters less than the privacy. Lock the door if you must. Turn off your phone. This is sacred time that belongs entirely to your transformation. Stand before a mirror and look directly into your own eyes. This direct visual connection creates a powerful circuit between your conscious and subconscious minds. Many people find this uncomfortable at first because they have never truly faced themselves. They avoid their own gaze, look away, feel embarrassed or self-conscious. Persist through any discomfort. This eye contact with yourself is essential for deep programming. When you speak to yourself while maintaining eye contact, you create what psychologists call a feedback loop that amplifies the power of your words. Your conscious mind speaks the command, your eyes see your own conviction, and your subconscious mind receives the message with maximum impact. Speak each command aloud with all the emotion and conviction you can summon. The words without feeling are powerless. Your subconscious mind responds not to the words themselves but to the emotional intensity behind them. When you say today, I live in daytight compartments, feel the peace of focused presence flooding through you. When you declare I listen more than I speak, sense the magnetic power of patient attention. Here is a crucial point that most people miss. You must speak these commands as if they are already true about you, not as if you hope they will become true. Don't say I want to live in daytight compartments, or I will try to listen more. Speak with the authority of someone who already possesses these qualities. Your subconscious mind believes what you tell it with conviction, regardless of current circumstances. Repeat each command 3 times before moving to the next. The first repetition establishes the thought in your conscious mind. The second repetition drives it deeper with increased emotional intensity. The third time, speak it as an absolute, unshakable truth about who you are becoming. This triple repetition creates what neuroscientists call neural pathway reinforcement, the biological basis of all lasting change. Watch your breathing as you speak. Deep, controlled breathing sends oxygen to your brain and signals to your nervous system that you are calm and in control. Shallow, rapid breathing creates anxiety and weakens the impact of your words. Breathe deeply between each command, allowing the previous one to settle into your consciousness before moving to the next. After speaking all 10 commands, remain quiet for 5 minutes. This is the most critical part of the entire ritual. This is the period when your subconscious mind absorbs and begins processing what you have declared. Don't think about your schedule, your problems, or your plans during this time. Simply remain in expectant silence, knowing that the seeds you have planted are taking root in the fertile soil of your deeper mind. During this quiet time, you may experience flashes of insight, sudden clarity about relationships, or ideas for improving your interactions with others. This is your subconscious mind already beginning to work on your behalf. Write down any insights that come to you, but don't actively seek them. Simply remain open and receptive. The transformation will not happen overnight, and anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. Your mind has been conditioned by years of worry, timidity, and social anxiety. These patterns have created literal grooves in your brain, neural pathways that thoughts flow through automatically. It requires at least 30 days of consistent practice to begin carving new pathways and at least 90 days to make them dominant. Miss a single day during these first 30 days, and you must begin the count again. This is not punishment but recognition of how lasting change actually occurs. Your subconscious mind needs consistency to accept new programming. Sporadic effort produces sporadic results. Daily practice produces permanent transformation. Many people fail at this point because they don't see immediate results and become discouraged. They practice for a few days, notice no dramatic changes, and quit. But transformation happens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. The tree grows its roots deep underground before producing fruit above ground. Trust the process, even when you cannot yet see the results. After 30 days, the practice will feel natural rather than forced. Your mind will begin expecting this morning ritual and feel unsettled without it. After 60 days, you will notice subtle changes in how others respond to you, more eye contact, warmer greetings, increased willingness to help. After 90 days, people will begin commenting on your increased confidence and presence. They won't know what's different, but they'll sense that something fundamental has changed. After 6 months of faithful practice, you will have become someone who naturally attracts respect, trust, and influence. These qualities will no longer be techniques you apply but natural expressions of who you have become. You will find yourself listening more intently without effort, appreciating others more genuinely without forcing it, acting with confidence without pushing yourself. Many people have written to tell me of the remarkable changes this morning ritual brought to their relationships and careers. A shy accountant became a confident team leader who inspired loyalty in her staff. A nervous salesperson transformed into a trusted advisor whom clients sought out for major decisions. A timid manager developed into an inspiring executive who attracted talented people to his team. But perhaps the most profound change is internal. These people report feeling more at peace with themselves, more confident in social situations, more genuinely interested in others. They stopped trying to impress people and started focusing on understanding them. They stopped worrying about what others thought and started thinking about what others needed. This internal transformation is what creates lasting external results. When you genuinely become the person who embodies these qualities, others sense it immediately. They cannot explain it, but they feel drawn to your authentic confidence, your genuine interest in them, your calm presence in a chaotic world. Do not make the mistake of thinking this is too simple to be effective. The most powerful truths are always simple. The challenge is not in understanding them but in applying them consistently. Knowledge without application changes nothing. The world is full of educated people who know these principles but don't practice them. Your entire life has been leading you to this moment of decision. Will you continue as you have been, hoping that somehow your influence will improve, or will you take command of your own mental programming and create the change you desire? The choice is yours. But understand this, if you do not deliberately program your mind each morning, the world will program it for you throughout the day. If you do not choose your mental state, others will choose it for you. And what they choose will not serve your highest potential. Begin tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier tonight. Find your mirror. Write out the 10 commands if necessary until you have them memorized. Your future influence depends not on charisma you were born with, but on habits you choose to develop. The chains that have bound you to timidity and social anxiety are already beginning to weaken. Tomorrow morning, you will speak the commands that will break them forever. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, know that you are about to embark on the greatest adventure of your social life, the journey from who you are to who you were meant to become in your relationships with others. The world is waiting for the confident, influential person you are about to become. Your colleagues are ready to respect the leader you will grow into. Your family is prepared to respond to the calm, encouraging presence you will develop. Rise early tomorrow. Speak boldly. Believe completely. Practice consistently. This is the way of those who transform their influence from weak to strong, from ignored to respected, from follower to leader. You now possess the morning ritual that will change how every person responds to you. The only question that remains is, will you use it? The decision you make in the next 24 hours will determine the quality of every relationship for the rest of your life. Choose wisely. Choose courageously. Choose influence. Begin tomorrow morning with the 10 commands that will change your life forever.